This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace.
Hello, good morning, and welcome back to another episode of Saturday Morning Mysteries, where we're your hosts. I'm Grace.
And I'm Alexis.
And we're now starting our fall arc, which is our hardest and most nebulous arc to do. But then we got some good episodes probably for you this month. Basically, for those who are new, October, November, and December is our holiday arcs in which we can do any cartoon that we choose as long as it fits with the theme of that month. So we just finished Halloween for October, and now we're moving into broadly fall. I think in the past we've called it Thanksgiving arc. We've called it Pilgrim Crimes. I think we're just calling it fall now because
fall is probably the best because
those other categories
we don't want to limit ourselves.
Exactly. Yes.
And
So Alexis is going to take it away today for our first fall episode. I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what the fall connection or theme is about to be, but I'm sure you're going to tell us.
Yeah, I am. And I guess I'll preface it by saying that last week, Grace and we said on the podcast that we realized that we did kind of slightly mess up the schedule. So specifically me, I should have checked the calendar because I knew that I had 3 fall episodes to do this year because there's so many weekends in November this year. And I could have done a spooky fall episode. I didn't think about it. I'm going to do it later in the month. But I want to preface that because I thought that this one would come out more in line with the date of what the holiday we're celebrating today is. Yeah. So it's funny you say that there's there's a couple other holidays in November, one in particular that I say is a very underrated holiday, yet very important holiday, particularly here in the United States, but it actually is celebrated under a different name all over the world. It occurs each November on November 11th. No, it is not only my brother's birthday, it is also Veterans Day. Yes.
Oh, okay. So today, why are we celebrating this holiday? What cartoon celebrates this holiday?
Because it's in November.
Wow, also clutch before we even get to the episode. Yeah. Good fall connection and sleuthing.
It's been, and to be fair, I didn't have to do a lot of sleuthing. It's been in the back of my mind for a while doing this one, but I guess when I think of fall or November, like you, I think of Thanksgiving or something along those lines. So for me, this season has always been about, or this month has always been about, find something that has to do with Thanksgiving, dog show, Thanksgiving meal, pilgrims, etc. But no, now that we call this fall, we're expanding. We can touch other weekends or other days in November because it's getting a little hard. So before we get into the cartoon that just so happens to have a Veterans Day centric episode. We'll real quickly here talk about Veterans Day, just to talk about, what it means. And because it is going to be celebrated in, I think, 10 days after this episode comes out. Yeah. So it originally was known as Armistice Day, and it is a federal holiday in the United States that is observed annually on November 11th, as I said before. And the purpose is to honor military veterans of the United States Armed Forces. But like I mentioned, other countries around the world also celebrate it on the same day, but they usually call it either Armistice Day or Remembrance Day. And all of these, the uniting factor of all of these, why it's on November 11th in every country, is because that happens to be the anniversary of the end of World War I.
Cool.
So those hostilities, they formally ended, just for a fun fact here, at the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918.
Okay. They were just 11. We could have signed at 9 a.m., but hold on, guys.
Hold on, guys. Deal with those front lines for a little bit longer.
Y'all, this is going to be crazy.
And then once 11 hits, they're like, wait, hold on. Let's wait till 11:11.
Hold on. Make a wish.
Yeah.
Get in that trench. You're not done
yet. World peace.
Yeah.
So still working on it. So anyways,
Yeah.
so at the urging of a lot of US veterans organizations and probably a lot of other veterans organizations
Mhm.
around the world, Armistice Day became a thing. I actually think that they actually did immediately start celebrating it like the next year, like in 1919. Like I don't think they
Mm.
wasted any time. But in America, Armistice Day was then renamed to Veterans Day in 1954.
Okay.
So I don't know. I guess they were like, we're done with
Rebrand.
exactly rebrand. We don't want it to be about armistice anymore.
Yeah.
That's a
That's too hard
European
to say.
concept. Exactly. Honestly, sadly, that could be the reason. So, one last little note about this holiday before we jump into our cartoon for today. If you're in the United States, you probably are thinking like, well, wait a minute, aren't there like other holidays celebrating
Mm.
military people or, veterans or whatnot in the United States? Like, I feel like
Mhm.
I get at least 3 days off a year that have to do with
Yeah,
3 days
for
off of work for a
military.
year. Yeah, for
Yeah.
military reasons. So the other one you're probably thinking of is Memorial Day,
Mhm.
obviously, other than like the 4th of July. But Memorial Day is different because um, Memorial Day is specifically recognizing and honoring soldiers who have died while
Yeah.
in
A
military service.
memorial to them,
Memorial,
perhaps.
exactly. Perhaps one might say,
Perchance.
a dictionary might say. Whereas veterans is for any U.S. veteran, anyone who's
Mhm.
served, which I know there's one near and dear to your heart. I have
Yes,
one, many,
exactly.
not just one. I have
Yeah.
several in my family, extended family, cousins, aunts, uncles, etc. So basically, everyone in the United States, I'm pretty sure, knows someone who's a military
Some
veteran
connection.
or, yeah, has some connection. So just a good day, November 11th, to think about those people, think about
Yeah,
what,
nice.
they sacrificed for us, the pain, the hardship that they went through.
Hmm.
And also take that day to maybe take some action to tell your congresspeople, your whoever you vote for, that they
Uh-huh.
need to support veterans more because they've
Yes, they
given a
do.
lot to this country and to every country around the world, I'm assuming, that
Hmm.
has active fighters and active service members. So we definitely owe a lot to them, no matter what they're doing. A lot of
Hmm.
people join the military for different reasons. And
Yep.
at the end of the day, we can just be thankful that they chose to sacrifice their time and their bodies for something that is,
Yep.
well, not always, it doesn't always have the best outcome for them, especially if we don't
Yep.
request that it does and demand that it does from our
Yes.
leaders.
Yeah, and
So
continue to
think
support
about
them
that this Veterans Day.
afterwards. Yeah. Maybe
Exactly.
do
It's like
something to
not just while
support
they're
them.
fighting.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
that.
So, anyways, happy Veterans Day soon in,
Almost.
like 10 days. Like I said, a week and a half. Wish I had looked at the calendar better before mapping out my episodes for
Good,
November.
good.
But yes, it is, in my estimation, the first real holiday of November.
Mm,
So, Grace,
lovely.
go figure that one of our favorite cartoons of all time, and one that I have covered on this podcast quite a few times now,
Okay.
just so happens to have an episode dedicated to this very holiday.
Okay.
And like I said, we both love this cartoon. So for me, it did not take any sleuthing at all to find it. I immediately knew because
Sorry, what
that
if it was Magic
cartoon,
School Bus and it was like, okay, kids,
the
we're
kids,
going to the trenches of World War One. Get in the
here we
bus.
go, kids, learning about Agent Orange. Here.
Sorry, I know. I'm
All
hoping
right,
it's not,
kids.
but like, can you
No,
imagine?
but also offline, we've done our speculation of that.
Yes.
So it's like, I definitely understand you
That's
honestly
why it was on
making
my
that
mind.
connection.
Yes, we've
Yeah.
texted about this theory.
No, no, but in a way, it is related that it's a show that has to do with fourth graders who we've actually pitted against Miss Frizz's class in like imaginary competitions in the past. And that cartoon and show is none other than Hey Arnold.
Nice. Okay. Also,
Mhm. The
both
show, the
nice
king of
and
holiday season episodes, if
I
you
know,
ask
but
me.
also immediately I'm worried. We've
Hmm.
had veterans pop up
War
in Hey Arnold
stories. Hmm.
episodes before, and
Hmm.
it's
Oh, we're gonna
heartbreaking.
get more.
Yeah, I was gonna say every holiday episode of Hey Arnold is heartbreaking. So
Yep,
okay, I don't
Grace.
remember this one, but I'm ready to be
Yeah,
sad.
you will be. I
Great.
guarantee you. I
Great. That's the crime of this
definitely
episode being
cried
sad.
watching the end of this episode.
Okay.
I was like,
Cool.
wow, fuck you, Hey Arnold, yet again,
Yeah.
yet
Yeah.
again. But I
Every
do
holiday
remember
episode
watching
in the
this one
feels.
growing up, literally every single one. And they have a few other holiday episodes that I'm like, maybe I'll hold those in my back pocket for like something else
Ooh,
down the road. But like
nice.
guaranteed, Hey Arnold holiday episode, your heartstrings will be yanked, not just pulled, yanked.
Cut.
So
In fact.
yeah, get ready for that.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to move through it quickly because yes, we're going to hear two different war stories today. Because yes, because in this episode we join Arnold, Arnold's best friend Gerald, Arnold's grandfather, Grandpa Phil, and Gerald's father, Martin Johansson, as they make their way through a cross-country road trip, traveling to the capital, is I think all they call it, but it's obviously Washington, D.C., to celebrate and observe Veterans Day. And the trip is very important to Grandpa Phil and Martin because both men, we quickly learn, are veterans themselves. And the boys, they only see this as like a 3-day weekend. They're like, oh, what are we going to do on our day off? Like, let's do something cool. Let's like either go bowling or, we'll find something cool, whatever it is. But then their Grandpa Phil and Martin convince them to do this road trip. So like they're also trying to use this opportunity to teach their boys about the importance of serving your country and trying to like bond with them.
And
exactly. And like the true meaning of being a veteran, why it's not just like another day off to like get a free appetizer from a restaurant if you're a veteran or something like that. Like, no, there's more meaning. Exactly. So since this is a literal cross-country drive, I think Grandpa Phil says it like takes only a day to do. So they're like, yeah, we can do this on the long weekend, which is also crazy.
2 days of driving, 1 day of activities.
Exactly. And Grandpa Phil's like, oh yeah, I'm going to drive like 90 miles per hour the whole way. So we'll be fine. We'll
be 3/4 of a day at that point, not even a whole day.
Exactly. Like, yeah, we'll make great time. But since it is such a long trip, they realize that they need to pass some of the time on their travels. So Grandpa Phil and Martin, they use this opportunity to tell their boys some stories about their service in the United States military. So like I said, we're going to retell a couple of cartoon war stories today, Grace.
Great.
Something that Hey Arnold has done before and that we've done before on this podcast through
Tried
Hey
and
Arnold.
true from Hey Arnold.
Exactly.
No stranger to it.
Yeah.
And specifically, I think we should say, in the past, at least, I'm predicting for this one as well, not just war stories, but ones that'll fuck you up, especially not even just as a child watching, as an adult listening and watching and being like, oh no, at least again, the Christmas one that you had done. Oh, this isn't like a propaganda war story. This is a war story, period.
Exactly. This isn't a story. Right. This isn't a story about like the Captain politics America. And exactly. And the like, oh yeah, America conquers sort of war story. This is the human element of the war story that they always talk about. This is the one where in the
Christmas episode that they're like, I had to give my child to someone in a helicopter to save her life and never saw her again.
Exactly. It's been 18 years or whatever since I saw her. And I literally had to lift an Operation Baby Lift, which is a real thing. So they also, not only do they have these seriously emotional war stories, but they base them off of real world events. They do their research and they like reanimate the exact pictures of battles and stuff to like depict in this cartoon. Again, goated cartoon. It's no secret here. It's one of my favorites from like of all time. I know it's one of yours too. I love bringing it up whenever I can because it's like I learned so much from it. Oh, get ready. Like I said, I'm saying it from the jump here.
2 different people talking about their war experiences.
2 stories. 2
twice
stories.
The sadness.
And
okay.
Now I will tell you, the first one is Grandpa Phil's, and we know Grandpa Phil is a fabulist, if you will. He loves stretching the truth. He loves telling a tall tale. Yeah. So yes, his story is serious, but it's also very funny. It's the second story. It's Martin's story that's going to get to us. I guarantee you. Like I said, I've shed a tear watching this now. I think every time. So I'm like, all right, great. Here we go. So we'll start with the funny one, and then we'll end on the sad note to
perfect. And on
bring
a low.
It on home. I guess. End on a low. Exactly. Happy November, everybody. So, Grandpa Phil's tale or story, if you will. Now, remember this episode, it did come out in 1999, and Grandpa Phil is super old. So old Steely Phil's wartime story takes place during none other than the war to end all wars, World War II itself. Okay. And Phil claims that it was actually him, none other than Steely Phil himself, who single-handedly ended the war, winning it for the Allied powers.
Tell me how.
Oh, I'm about to. And he's about to. I'm about to tell you through him. So, or he's about to tell you through me.
Yes.
It was January of 1945, and Phil was stationed in Northern Europe, specifically, obviously, in Northern France. And although he was working hard as an assistant cook in his barracks, where he was busy cooking up and serving meals to his fellow troops, our young Phil longed for the opportunity to engage in true battle on a real mission. He dreamed that he'd one day move up through the ranks and be asked to fight the enemy in service of this great country. One day, that dream came true. Phil was busy like peeling potatoes or something, the usual bit, when he was summoned to an immediate meeting with his battalion's colonel. The mission, to the best that Phil was able to understand it, was for him to deliver a truckload of bad CHAM, air quotes, CHAM.
CHAM.
I'll explain that in a moment.
Okay, thank you. I was like,
to a highly secret dumping ground somewhere else in northern France.
Okay.
Now, and this is directly from my script. I know what you're probably asking right now. What is CHAM?
I already asked it, in fact.
I know what you've already asked because I can predict what Grace will say.
Yes, and you are correct.
Now, and I'm quoting Phil directly here just to remind you how fucking hilarious this show is. Phil says, "It's nothing like Spam, if you wondered. Oh, no, no, no. Spam is a delicious and nutritious ham-based product enjoyed by millions of people all over the world for more than 30 years.
Sponsored by
CHAM. Please don't sue us, Spam. We're not making fun of you. This is
trademark CHAM, not Spam.
CHAM, on the other hand, is a combination of chicken and ham byproducts randomly packed in leaky tin containers and briefly introduced to the military for experimental purposes in 1944. They're nothing alike." This was the quote
from the show, not us.
The show said it, not me.
Not us.
Blame Nickelodeon and Phil from Hey
We're
Arnold.
Just quoting what we heard.
Don't shoot the messenger, Spam.
Allegedly.
Okay? Allegedly. This is allegedly what Phil said in Hey Arnold.
That's very good. That's very good.
And so the CHAM being delivered on this mission by Phil just so happened to be really, really bad CHAM. Again, a direct quote from Phil here. "Bad enough to give you the runs like there was no tomorrow."
He's like, "I'm telling you the real shit about the war right now." And
this was it.
Like that.
And I'm glad you said that because I just realized, maybe this is a good carryover from spooky season.
Yeah.
From Halloween. This is now a horror story.
I mean, truly, this is some worst case scenario.
Yeah.
You have some of that CHAM and you're in World War II. You got a lot of problems on your hands, but you just had another one.
Yeah, exactly. And that one is oddly enough, maybe more serious.
This is your 99th problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So that night, Phil set out on this dangerous mission. He gets in this, he loads up this truck full of all the bad CHAM. And it just so happened to be a very dark night. It was thick with fog. It was snowing on and off. Like I said, this is January in Northern Europe. So the conditions were tough. But Phil, he always wanted this opportunity to do something that seemed very important. Even, it's not battle per se, but he gets to go to this cool undisclosed location.
Yeah, he's got a mission.
He's doing something for the troops. Exactly. He's got a mission that gets him out of the kitchen. Didn't mean for that to rhyme. I
know. I was about to be like, that sounded so nice.
That was a bar. Yeah. So after a couple of days driving with his pedal to the metal, he's very excited, but also trying to be diligent and make sure he's getting this done. He does start to really tire, and he realizes that he needs a safe place for shelter, at least to rest for just a little bit before he starts the next leg of his trip. And luckily, he comes across a small farmhouse along his route. And when he reaches it, he goes in, he's like, okay, it looks friendly enough. I know I'm not in enemy territory particularly, so I can, they're going to love seeing a good old American soldier coming in needing a place to sleep for the night, right? So he goes in to see if they can spare a room for him. And Grace, it gets very lucky for Phil. And this show just takes such a fucking turn.
Okay.
He knocks on the door and it swings open, and he quickly realizes that the occupants of the house are three sisters, all in their
God. Okay.
All in their 20s, I'd say,
Of age, perhaps. Yes.
Of
Okay.
age, yes.
Same age as this American soldier. Interesting.
Exactly. Who earlier in the episode was like, ogling pinups and stuff like
Of
that. And
course.
he's
Yeah.
at one point he says, like, I was getting tired and lonely. Oh, so lonely. He's telling this story. It's hilarious. Again, like I said,
Arnold
we're
and
getting a lot of
Gerald are
funny
just
before we
like,
get
yeah,
sad.
yeah, not realizing what
Mhm.
that means.
Exactly.
Wait, this
And
is so
so
funny.
it gets funnier.
This episode already.
So
Okay.
it turns out that these three French sisters, who he like imitates them or impersonates them, like with their French accents and their farmhouse and the prairie. But their father, the farmer, he'd gone off to join the French army, and there was no one else left at home.
Oh my gosh.
So there was no room.
There's a lot of films that I'm sure start this exact way as well.
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately,
Films will
yes.
never be on Nickelodeon.
Oh no. Oh no, no, no. Films that you
Far
now have
from
to
it.
show your ID to watch in some states,
Exactly.
even if online. So
Exactly.
Phil tells his grandchild and his grandchild's friend and his grandchild's friend's father that there was no room in the farmhouse that night, but they agreed to let Phil sleep in their barn.
The barn. Okay.
And just as Phil that night was getting comfortable in the barn and about to nod off, he heard a knock on the barn door, and it swung open from the wind,
You need to
and
have
he
some
saw
music in the background right now.
But it's crazy because he's like trying to speak in a French accent too. So I almost feel like there should be like the French piano, like slight like
Yes.
violin music or something
Yes.
instead, almost like a Lady and the Tramp. Although I guess
yeah,
that's
kind of like
that's
more
something like that.
romantic.
Yeah, or an accordion, I guess is probably what I'm thinking. Yeah, like this is
Just like
the
on like the
night.
streets of Paris.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, the barn door flew open, and it was none other than the oldest daughter, he makes sure we know,
Okay.
Monique. She was bathed in moonlight, wearing a figure-flattering, diaphanous peasant dress. Oh, Monsieur Phil, she said.
Grandma.
The war, she has made me so scared and lonely.
I'm all by
This
myself.
is all direct quotes from the show. And then Martin cuts in like, Phil, maybe
Thank you. Thank you.
maybe you should skip this part and not tell this part. And then they like look back at the boys and Phil's like, oh yeah, you're right. I'll tell you that part later.
Yeah, read the room.
Yeah. And the boys are just like peeking over, getting real
Grandpa,
close though. Like, what did she say next, Grandpa?
Do I have a half brother in France?
A half cousin or something, I guess.
Do you have like a half grandson in France somewhere?
Yeah. And I was going to make that joke in here somewhere like, so moral of the story here is that Grandpa Phil has some kids running around.
Yeah, somewhere in France.
But it's not over yet. He continues. So he does cut that part out. But then he says, the next morning, he woke up feeling like $1,000,000.
I bet he did.
Absolutely, like a new man, ready to get back on the road to the secret location. And so we see him driving off down, like out of the farmhouse down this country road. But we like in the background, we see Monique like crying and being consoled by her sisters as they're waving him away. No, you left me.
Our baby.
I know. I'll never know love like this again. You'll die in the war. like
He'll never make it back
bawling.
to the farmhouse.
Yeah. He told me he'd never leave, and yet he left. He told me he'd leave the military for me. So funny. Oh my gosh. God damn it. Hey, Arnold. Never fails. So they had to like make us cry from laughter before we cry from sadness later. So yeah. Good. So yes, he's on his drive again, trying to deliver this CHAM or get rid of it. And after many, many more miles, and honestly, it seems like a couple more days of driving, Phil finally encounters the inevitable, a flat tire.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Put a pin in that because I know what you thought I was going to say.
I was also worried when you said the barn doors open. I thought that's when it was happening.
Oh yeah, like
there's
on some fucking Inglourious Bastards type of shit.
Which I thought it was gonna.
Or like someone was gonna come into the barn house looking for someone.
Yes, that's where I keep
we're gonna
thinking
get
it's gonna go. But okay,
don't worry. And unfortunately, we are gonna have to drop that word soon because it is used many times in this episode. So we'll get there.
It's actually in this paragraph. So that'll feel nice.
Exactly right. Exactly. Which feels appropriate in celebration of Veterans Day as well, especially in America. True. So, hey. So, yes, he gets a flat tire and he knows that he's got to get to work on this quickly because he's like, I'm scared. I know that I am actually, this is where he says it right here. He's like, I know that the possibility of Nazis being no more than a few miles away is pretty high because he's like, I'm getting very close to their territory. So his instincts, unfortunately, do appear to have been correct because even though he's working quickly, before he's able to finish changing the tire, he hears someone behind him screaming in German.
Oh, no.
Yep. And he claims that he turned around and saw the most horrible sight anyone, particularly any Allied force member, could ever see during the war. The Fuhrer himself, Grace.
Okay,
we literally
Grandpa.
see Adolf Hitler with eyes glowing like fiery red coals, leading troops through the area. You see like all these tanks and like planes flying overhead, like a brigade walking right behind him. And so then Phil claims that he immediately jumped up towards Hitler and began to fight. First, he poked him in the eyes. Then he gave him a noogie, then a wedgie. And then he held him up by a wedgie and stood on top of a hill. And flags started flying and the American flag started flying and tanks rolled in. And the Statue of Liberty was built in the horizon. And American cheerleaders were screaming him on and cheering, Phil, Phil, Phil.
Arnold and Gerald are like, we learned about this in school, right?
Exactly.
We actually take history, right?
And at this point, Arnold shuts that shit down. He's like, Grandpa, you did not fight Adolf Hitler.
None of this shit happened.
All of this all up. Yeah. Which is also funny because earlier in the episode, Arnold's like promising Phil that he's not going to lie about any of his war stories while they're like on this road trip or visiting.
And then the first story he tells
is a lie. But Phil owns up to it. He's like, all right, you got me. I know it wasn't. I was embellishing. It wasn't Hitler that I encountered. It was Joseph Goebbels.
Oh my
God. So it gets worse.
Phil. Also, like, crazy of this children's show to actually be naming.
Yeah. That like straight up naming them.
Yeah, okay.
And depicting them like the Hitler looks like Hitler.
Oh, right, because it's in like a flashback and stuff. And, like,
exactly. And who they say is Goebbels looks like Goebbels,
oh my
too.
God,
and
that's crazy.
Just like as a hilarious note, because they're in full uniform too, by the way. But instead of the S word on their patch, they just have frowny faces. Which is incredible.
Nickelodeon was like,
they're like, okay, there's a line.
That's their red line. Talking about Goebbels, like everyone knows Hitler, but like you're already talking about him too. The children don't know who that is. They're in fourth grade. You gotta change the animation a little.
We cannot put that on television. Like, sorry about it. Even in the 90s, they were a little, they were mindful of that.
Yes.
So, whoever it was, whether it was Hitler, whether it was Goebbels, we don't know, whether it was some nobody in this Nazi brigade, there was indeed a whole brigade of them, of soldiers who approached Phil after this, who he said were one of the most ferocious in the entire war. So, obviously, they captured him. They held him prisoner because they knew that he was an American. And here he found himself now, miles behind enemy lines, prisoner.
Okay,
not where you want to be.
Could have actually happened.
And alone. Yeah, exactly. And all alone. Now, here's what happened, though. This brigade just so happened to have just run out of rations, or at least they were getting really low on rations.
Okay.
So when they captured Phil and searched his truck, They believe this to be an opportune find. Not only did they just capture an American soldier, but they got a whole fucking truck full of CHAM.
So much food.
So much food, like
Endless,
so much. You couldn't
delicious,
endless
totally
CHAM,
fine
like
to eat.
totally
Endless
fine.
CHAM.
Now, on first instinct, because I guess Phil does have a little bit of decency, maybe too much decency in his heart at this point. So at first he's like, no, don't eat that. It's bad meat. You don't want that. But the brigade's leader, who again looks a lot like Joseph Goebbels, who, for those who don't know, was basically the minister of propaganda for Hitler's government during World War II. So a propagandist. He comes up to Phil. And I say this because he seems very knowledgeable about propaganda and rhetorical mind tricks, if you will.
Yes.
So he asks reverse psychology. Phil, exactly. He's like, tell me again what you just said about this so-called bad meat. Is it really bad meat? Or is that just what you want me to think? And so the two go back and forth for a bit, like, no, it's actually bad. And Goebbels like, no, but if you wanted me to think it was bad, then I would actually, like the classic cartoon thing. Yeah. And eventually Phil is like, okay, I think the best way for me to win this, he's like having an internal monologue. He's like, the best way for me to win this is by making him think that I'm stupid. Yes. And actually outsmarting him. So he doesn't just say like, yeah, you know what, you're right, I was wrong. It is fine meat. Like you could eat it. I'm just so scared. He keeps going. Like he leans into it. Like we Americans are just so dumb. We don't know what we're doing. And just eat it. I'm so sorry I failed. My troop leader's gonna kill me. What am I gonna do? So he leans into it, right? Good. And that night, believing Phil, the brigade has a nice, warm CHAM dinner at their base. They're chowing down on it while Phil is tied up by his truck, being held prisoner with some guards overlooking him. Hilariously, I think one of them offers him a can, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm not hungry.
No, I'm good. Trust me,
I'm good. And so at that point, he's like, "All right, it's just a waiting game now. I'll just be locked
he's
up
like, and start the clock."
Yeah, exactly. And like clockwork, Phil wakes up the next morning and he sees that everyone in this brigade is absolutely wrecked in the bowels and intestines. I mean, pain like you could not believe.
Wow, this is very
just all extremely like seeing all of them like in the fetal position, moaning and crying, like paralyzed from food poisoning, totally unable to function. So Phil, he's able to get himself free from these chains, and he calls back to his general and instructs him to come quickly to collect these enemies and achieve a stunning victory that'll be able to end this war. All thanks to Steely Phil.
Wow.
And that is the end of Phil's story. And some CHAM, exactly, some bad CHAM. CHAM, not spam, CHAM.
CHAM. I love a depiction like this in which they're all just shitting their brains out because fuck them. Love to see that happen. Love to make like them look like fools. Good.
Absolutely. Like Goebbels comes up to him like, please, you have to help me. I've never felt such pain. And I think Phil just like kicks him away. It's incredible.
Right in the stomach too.
Yeah. And they're all just like, oh my God. Good. Like they're dying.
I love that.
It's great.
Good. Beautiful.
So, yes, Gerald, he's like us. He's super impressed. He's like, hell yeah, Phil. Like, you actually took down the enemy. You were captured behind enemy lines. Like, that is badass. You actually, like, took them on hand to hand. Maybe you punched Hitler in the face. I don't know. Like, it's a dubious claim there, but, like, awesome story.
But way at least you get some Nazi stick, so fuck it. Yeah,
exactly.
We love that.
You
no matter who they were.
At a bare minimum. Exactly. And, like, that to me sounds a little bit more realistic. But again, it's still Phil, so he could be embellishing all of this.
For sure.
At least so we think. But now Gerald's like, well, what about you, Dad? Did you ever fight in war? Like, did you ever, carry in a firearm, or did you ever shoot anyone? Anything like that?
Did you ever meet 3 French sisters? Is my mom my real mom?
Do I have long lost siblings somewhere in, unfortunately, Grace, Vietnam?
Okay. Yeah. When you said dad instead of grandpa, I said,
Remember again, this is the late 90s. So Martin's probably in his like mid 40s. So about 20 years, 25-ish years prior.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's where it takes a turn.
Yeah.
As a teenager and a young man, Martin he was generally involved with and infatuated by the pro-peace, anti-war movement. So we see this interesting flashback of him where like he's got an afro, he's wearing almost like a draping long like smock sort of
Yes.
shirt and like baggy
Little
clothes and a peace
hippie.
necklace, little hippie. He's like got all these like psychedelic posters and music
Funny.
posters around his apartment, and he's like tuning into news and going to protests and everything. So he was part of that kind of like counterculture movement, but he's a very responsible young man. And so once he was drafted to fight in Vietnam, he rose to the occasion, realizing that his country asked him to go, and he decided that he had to live up to that duty. And so he reported for it. Unfortunately for him, though, or maybe fortunately, I don't know, in hindsight, he ended up suffering from the flu during most of his 2 weeks of basic training. So he wound up being assigned to office and desk-based duties pretty quickly because he didn't really, although to answer Gerald's question, yes, he did have a firearm. It was very brief because during shooting practice and the lack of, basic training, he accidentally shot his colonel in the ass. So, which I had to look it up because this literally exactly happens in Forrest Gump, the movie.
Oh my God, funny.
Which did come out 5 years before this episode. So I was like, hilarious. They're clearly
amazing,
making a pun on the movie.
That's good. That's
so
good.
Yes. So Martin, he didn't have like the best like physical skills, but the dude's super responsible and he's very analytical. So they ended up assigning him to work as a file clerk in the Office of Medical Records for their base, which honestly, like if you're watching this in a cartoon as a kid, you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. But like once you grow up and like realize what war is, and also when you learn about the Vietnam War, like that actually sounds like no small task. Like organizing medical records for an entire base in South Vietnam or something. Like, oh my God. So
also those medical records have to stay with that veteran for the rest of their lives. So if you fuck it up, you might fuck them over for the rest of their lives. So I have so much to say about this episode. I'm so excited.
I imagine that you do.
A whole diatribe after.
Well, and then you're going to love Martin and have so much respect for him because when he walked into that office, it was in chaos. It was in disarray, papers everywhere. He would be handed a massive stack of disorganized papers of records every day. But he would he saw that this was his duty. This was how he was serving his country since he couldn't go out and shoot people or fight in battle. So he made this like his absolute focus, and he gave it the attention that somewhat like that a SEAL Team 6 member would give to like going out and carrying out some mission. So he was like by 1700 hours every single day, I needed to have that entire office in tip top shape. And so you would like see a montage of him just getting everything organized and filed, using his analytical and organizational skills to serve his country and fulfill his duty. Now, while I think this is very admirable, Gerald, he's not impressed. He's a kid. He wants to hear stories about his dad shooting people.
Punching a Nazi.
Punching people. Yeah. And going through all these crazy training exercises and everything. Because, he always kind of saw his dad as like some sort of war hero or combat fighter. Because I guess he's never really asked him about his service in Vietnam. He just knows that he's served. And if you know about Vietnam, then you know that like, oh God, yeah, he saw some shit. He's a war hero, right?
Yeah.
So he asked his dad, like, but didn't you ever take or see any action on the front lines? And Martin's like, well, I mean, there was this one time. And so he tells the boys and Grandpa Phil about this one time that he was ordered to take some paperwork from the medical office to another base somewhere. He doesn't actually describe how far away it is, but he had to go on quite a drive. Let's put it that way. And that while he was on this drive, he actually ended up saving a young man, an American soldier, who happened to be injured during combat. So what happened was he found this injured soldier who, his name is like Lieutenant Miller, I think, who had recently fought in what was called the Battle of An Loc, which is a real battle. We'll talk about that later in the episode.
Okay,
yeah, Hey Arnold, throwing in reality there. Yeah. And Lieutenant Miller was separated from his regiment. And so Martin, at the time, he didn't have like any bandages or like medical supplies. All that he had was all of these medical records and like some disinfectant and stuff. So what he did was he not only went down to the ditch to help Miller and like console him and comfort him, but he like assessed his injury. He took out a bunch of these medical records. He was like, I know that we got to keep these organized and everything, but like this dude's bleeding out. He's about to
Yeah, we
die.
got to stop
He
this
just
bleeding.
Exactly. So he like disinfected it and then just like pasted the medical records onto
Mm,
his leg to like stop the bleeding.
damn.
And then that's kind of where he ends that story. We'll get more to it in a little bit.
Okay.
There's a little that he left out some details there, we'll say.
Okay.
And that's where the tears will come in. I'm already trying to be like, oh, it's gonna be okay.
You're like, it's fine, it's fine.
Gerald, he's a little more impressed by this. Like, okay, that's cool. Like, yeah, you saw blood and everything and whatever, but he's still kind of bummed out. Like, man,
you just saved a man's life, but whatever, Dad.
Yeah, but whatever. That's cool. And so, yeah, Gerald, at this point, they're like staying overnight at a motel or something to finish the next leg of their trip in the morning. So Gerald and Arnold are kind of chilling in the motel saying like, man, all my dad did was use some paper to heal a wound up on some guy one time.
Gerald,
he didn't do anything cool. Oh, he is.
You gonna learn, Gerald. I don't know what, but
you gonna learn. Like I said, that story is not over.
Yeah.
But also, Arnold, as he always does, kind of puts Gerald in his place here. And he's like, well, yeah, I know maybe like your dad didn't do the most exciting things, but at least he didn't lie like my grandfather did. Like, at least he's honest. Yeah. Like, at least he's honest about what he did and not just like making shit up about punching Hitler in the eyes. Like, what? So, Gerald hears him like, yeah, I guess you're right. And unfortunately, Martin overhears some of this conversation and is just a little like brought down by it because he thought that he was doing a good job of teaching Gerald about the importance of being a veteran and everything.
Yeah.
But the next day, they get back onto their drive and they do eventually arrive in good old Washington, D.C., where we see the montage of them doing all the fun touristy things.
Cute.
They're visiting the monuments, going to museums, watching parades and everything. And eventually the group splits up. Like they kind of have like their own personal little family time.
Mm-hmm.
So Phil takes Arnold to where I imagine... I mean, I'm a little familiar with the area.
Yeah, I was just saying, you can imagine, where this is.
Well, because it's fictionalized, and I'll tell you why I imagine, because I don't think this really exists, but for the context of this episode, it does. But I imagine it's deep somewhere through the tidal basin, like down by the Lincoln Memorial. Like there's some kind of thick, not thick areas of trees, but like there are some trees and bushes back there that like maybe this could exist. So Phil is like pulling Arnold through these trees, and Arnold's like, "Oh, Grandpa Phil, what are we doing back here? Like, why are you taking me here?" Mm-hmm. And Phil points to a hidden, often not seen monument that no one ever seems to visit or care to learn about.
Overgrown. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I'm telling you, they had like literally they're like climbing over bushes to get back there.
Okay, yeah.
There's not even a path. Yeah. And so Arnold leans in and he sees that it's a monument dedicated to none other than Steely Phil himself, Arnold's grandfather. So it's a bust of Phil's face to prove like, oh no, that is Phil, the same Phil.
Oh. And
then we see a plaque that reads, in honor of Private Steely Phil, he single-handedly won the Battle of the Bulge.
Well then. Now, have you checked all the woods around DC to confirm this doesn't exist?
Exactly. I'm going to do it. It's so funny. I'm free tomorrow morning, actually, in early afternoon. So I was thinking I might do a tidal basin walk because the weather has been great here lately.
Yeah, just go. Like,
keep
your eyes peeled.
Do a tidal basin walk, go see some monuments. I was like, while I'm down there, I'm going to look for this Steely Phil monument. But it's also just so interesting because I'm like, listen, where they put this, all right, Phil, cool. Maybe it's a real monument, but also, are we sure that he didn't just bring this and like put it here and hit it here
years
to
ago,
Arnold?
put it here?
Exactly. Like in a place where no one would look. Yeah, exactly.
Right. No one's gonna take it down because no one knows it's there. That's probably what happened.
Yeah. Because I'm like, okay, Phil, do I believe he was in World War II? Sure.
Yeah.
But the story is a little crazy. But Arnold,
probably not true.
Arnold doesn't think as far forward as we do. He believes it. He takes this as a sign that Grandpa Phil was actually being honest when he told his story, which makes Arnold feel really proud and like, oh my God, like, wow, I'm so sorry I doubted you. Like, thank you for actually listening to me too and like not lying about things. And thank you for showing me this. So they have a good old hug. And then meanwhile, we see on the sadder side of the story, we see Gerald and Martin paying their respects as they stroll through the Vietnam Veterans Memorial.
Okay.
Martin realizes that Gerald, like I said, he overheard that conversation the night before, and he realizes that Gerald is less than impressed by his father's military service. So he takes this opportunity to tell his son that although he knows Gerald really wanted to believe that Martin was some big war hero, the truth is he wasn't. He didn't carry a gun. He didn't fight in combat. He just tried to give his best when his country asked him to. And Gerald is like, it's okay, Dad, I know. And I know you did your best serving in Vietnam, and I'm proud of you no matter what. But their conversation is interrupted when we hear a man from behind Martin asking, Johansson?
No, this is going to make me cry. This is fully going to make me cry.
I'm really trying.
It's fine. No. I'm not tearing up already. It's fine. Go ahead.
He says, Johansson? Private Johansson? Martin quickly turns around to see who's calling him. And yes, we see a middle-aged man walking towards him with a cane, supporting a slight limp that seems to have resulted from a combat wound. And the man tells him that he knew it was him. Like, I knew it was you, Johansson. It's me, Private Miller, the man you saved after the Battle of An Loc in 1972. And so Miller then tells his POV of that rescue story.
How dare they? How dare Hey Arnold?
I was like, fuck you, Hey Arnold. I was ready for this episode to be over. I'm already tearing up just knowing that like they're reuniting. Hug and
reunion. Yeah.
Exactly. Like that would have been enough. No.
Yeah, that almost got me thinking of that. But okay, we're going. They said, we started stabbing you, but now we're going to twist it in your heart.
We're going to twist it and then we're going to drag it down a little bit too. Whoops. Yeah. Okay. So just for context, I said I would talk about it later, aka now, the Battle of An Loc. And I'm not going to go super into it because, as Grace and I have said many times on this podcast, this ain't a war podcast. We have no,
believe it or not,
we have no expertise in war, so we're not here to like talk about and instruct on or even commentate really on war. But I would just say that the Battle of An Loc, it was a real battle, and it was actually a very brutal battle during the Vietnam War. It lasted for 66 days from April 13th, 1972 to July 20th, 1972.
Jesus.
It was in South Vietnam, and it did culminate in a victory for South Vietnam, who were allied with the United States at that time. But I mean, victory is like a relative term because during the battle, there were an estimated 10,000 Americans killed and another 15,000 wounded.
In 66 days?
In 66 days, with around 2,000 Vietnamese killed and 5,000 wounded.
Whoa.
In 66 days.
Oh, shit.
So, again, Hey Arnold, like tying it to reality where, yeah, it's reasonable to think that there were some regiment members who were injured and left behind after that combat who either didn't have the luck of someone driving through to save them or who maybe did like days after the battle ended. So after this horrific battle, Private Miller, we're telling his POV now, he found himself sitting in a rice paddy for hours, kind of like in the bottom of a ditch in a rice paddy. Like I said, his platoon had moved on and he was calling out for a medic for anybody to come help him, but nobody came. He wasn't quite sure how bad he was hurt, but he knew that he couldn't move. And like they show kind of some of the wound, like you see like a little smatter of blood, I think, on his leg, but like no bone, thankfully, or anything like that. But like you can tell like his leg's messed up. Like this guy, he's not moving.
Yeah.
So he was all alone. And eventually he thought that he was soon to die. But then Martin showed up out of the blue with nothing but a bunch of file folders. Miller, at the time, he was just so confused as to why anyone would be out and about in a war zone like this with all those files and like nothing else, no weapons. But nonetheless, he remembers Martin getting right to work, taking a look at his leg, consoling him, and wrapping the leg in paper and cleaning the wound. Miller says that after that, he just passed out, and the next thing he remembers was waking up in a hospital in Saigon. The
Whoa.
doctors there all thought that Miller should have bled to death, and he
Mm.
immediately knew that he would have died had it not been for Private
Mm.
Johansson. So Private Miller then tells Martin that he's waited more than 20 years to thank
No.
him.
No, don't say that.
He didn't think
Don't
that
say that. It's going to make me
he
cry.
didn't think he would ever
Okay.
see him
Great.
again.
Wow.
He then looks down at Gerald, introduces himself, and is like, "Are you his son?" And Gerald says, "Yes, sir." And Private Miller says, "Pleased to meet you, son. Did you know that your father's a real hero?"
Um,
And Grace, if you weren't already crying by
oh
this
no,
point,
you can't see because there's a glare on my glasses, but my eyes are totally red right now, trying not to cry.
I'm like
Yeah.
trying not to. But
Yeah.
if you weren't already, we then see Private Miller introduce Gerald and Martin to his lovely wife, Sharon, and their two young children, Bobby and Ellen.
I knew there would be little cute kids
Sharon,
there.
Sharon is fighting back tears. She's like got a tissue up to her face, which I'm jealous of Sharon right now.
Yeah, anyone.
But as she meets Martin, she's just shaking his hand, holding back tears as she meets the man who saved her husband's life. And the son, he salutes Martin, telling him it's an honor to meet him. The two families, they make their way then around the National Mall together. They spend a little bit of time getting to know each other, and they stand beneath the Washington Monument, admiring the fireworks and the time that they are able to spend together. And that is the end.
There's a big old pie in Gerald's face right now.
Gerald. Also, Gerald's like, God, I got to get my shit together. I'm an asshole.
Gerald, you better check yourself before you wreck yourself, kid, because
Shiggity,
boy,
check
were you
yourself.
wrong.
You were so wrong. Like, oh, my dad didn't do anything. And then it's like, oh, yeah, these two kids that you're standing by would not exist if it weren't for your dad. So
okay,
he may not have ever battled in combat or punched a Nazi in the face, but he did save that man's life. And now that man is married and has kids. And this was 1999, so that man's probably got grandkids now too. Who knows? This cartoon probably has
cartoon man Miller. He's lived a beautiful life. Private Miller. Cartoon. Yeah. Wow, great job. I'm definitely gonna cry as I watch this IRL. Almost to just listening to it, like actually seeing it. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna cry
when you see it, because there's the music and everything in the background, and like the it's like the flashback. You see his perspective of the flashback, and it's just
they'll fuck me up.
They know how to do it. They know how to fuck us up. They really do. Yeah, that's a great episode. So thank you.
Wow.
And thank you to Hey Arnold for creating it. Like, I mean, of all holidays to have an episode for.
I know. It would be Hey Arnold to lock it in.
It would, basically. That's the only one I could see doing it. So
can I have a quick soapbox moment?
Please. Oh, yeah. Well? Okay, yes, because you are a veteran wife, so you know a lot about this stuff. So go on.
Just the three things I want. 3, 4, 5, 8. No, 3 things.
99 things.
And a bitch ain't one. No. So the few things that I want to say beyond obviously, saying obviously thank you to our veterans, is one, echoing what you said at the start of being like, we need to do more to support our veterans. Guess what? Yeah. This country says they like them and they actually fucking don't. They don't. We need to have way more things to support them. So you should get involved in that and follow what's happening and to listen to veterans and how things are impacting them. So that, and then another thing is I've heard a lot, being currently living in Oregon, and this happens other places too, but my husband, who is a veteran, has seen this like on campus out here of people, they'll see someone like an ROTC kid and like they'll spit at them. And like, Justin's seen this happen, like veterans on campus out here, like feel unsafe. And like, you might not like the military, but you don't know why someone joined, like
that's the most important point.
People join for 1,000 reasons. It doesn't mean someone joined because they want to go kill someone and they love war or that they even like this country, like
boom.
You don't know why they're there. You don't know what situation they needed to get out of. And this was the only solution. Like the military preys on people in bad situations, and it is a way to
Yep.
escape something bad, or like, yeah, just a rough family life, and a thousand reasons, and you don't know that person. It's like you're judging a book by its cover, and everyone like, you can hate an institution, but that doesn't mean that
And
individual
not the
person.
pawns that the institution
Exactly. And like, what more of a
uses.
pawn than like a military? Like, yes, the
Literally,
system.
literally, even in the game of chess, that's like
Yes,
what the
exactly. Like, it
pawns
is the
are.
pawn.
It's
That's not the
literally.
king, kind of thing. So I just want to say that, of like remembering that it's not a monolith. Everyone has their own experiences and
Absolutely.
stories. And then, as my final piece, this is mainly two veterans, and kind of came up to in this episode a little bit of like, there there's a big narrative within the military and veteran community that, I mean, Gerald showed this narrative of, if you didn't serve or go to combat, like, you're undeserving. And I can't remember the actual percentage. The actual percentage of people who see combat in the military is
Oh, it's
really
lower.
small. It's like
Yeah.
super tiny. And
Most of it's
thus,
just operational stuff.
exactly. And
Hmm.
thus, like, a lot, not a lot, I mean, I don't know the number, but like, many veterans don't believe they deserve things afterwards, whether that be like benefits, whether that be recognition, anything like that.
Hmm.
And like, if there's a veteran listening, I just want to remind you, like, I'm not going to go fucking do that. I'm not going to go join the military. So already you've done something, like, you've
Yeah.
already done something more than I would do. So why don't you then
Yeah.
deserve to use the GI
The
Bill to go to
benefits.
school? Like,
Exactly.
you don't
Buy a
have to
house.
have,
Yeah.
yeah, like some traumatic story from the front lines, which means you deserve it. And I know that's the like narrative that gets spun a lot, but like, you don't. You still did
Mm-mm.
something a lot of people won't do, which is join the military for, again, for whatever reason you
And
joined.
sacrificed your time and your life in one
Yeah.
way. Maybe it wasn't, you weren't in danger, but you had to make a decision to leave your family and go
Yeah,
somewhere else
exactly.
and
Like,
do something
it's
totally different.
exactly. And
Yeah.
again, like,
For
it's
in
still a
service
thing.
of your country.
Most people don't want to do that. So like, you still did something you
Yeah.
don't want to do. And like, guess what? The military budget's big enough. You can go to college, like, you can use your GI Bill. Like, they're not going to miss someone who wasn't on the front lines just going to college. Like,
Right.
I want to remind people of that, of like, you did a thing, you should now like
You
reap the
deserve that.
benefits for
Yeah.
it. That's why like some of like they
Yeah.
are in place, and like unspin that narrative for yourself of like not being deserving, because
Hmm. You are
it's
owed that by the government. Like
right,
they
exactly. Like,
literally
it's the
owe
least they
you
can
that.
fucking do. They're not doing anything
Yeah.
else
After
for
what
you.
they put
So
you
like,
through.
yeah,
Yeah.
you should at least get something, or like take advantage
Hmm.
of it, but in the way of like, this is something now offered to me and I should do it. So
Hmm.
I have like a million thousand other things to say, but those were just my three
Yeah.
like things that came up while you were talking and wanting to like have, are
Thank
often
you.
on my mind in our
Yeah.
household and that kind of stuff.
And
And oh, good.
no, 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 you go ahead, finish.
I was
Yeah.
just gonna say, like, and the final thing too, like, also to veterans is like, and also if you're struggling, remember that you're not alone. Remember, like, there is help out there. You do have a community. Yeah, you're not by yourself dealing with, the trauma, or just anything
Whatever
of, even
the
not even just trauma, but
injury,
like
the
life after military. That's really hard transition. So like,
hmm
knowing that you're not alone, there's a community out here for you. People support you. You don't have to deal with any of this in a vacuum. And yeah, because there's just a really high uh like suicide rate in the
suicide
veteran,
and
yeah,
yeah,
community. So just a
young
reminder,
mortality rates, lower
yeah, that
mortality rates.
y'all aren't alone. There's community and
Hmm.
resources out here for you. So that's my final reminder.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are my 4 of 1,000 things to
All
say
the
in this regard.
next year for Veterans Day, she'll give 4 more, which I mean,
Exactly.
I feel,
will
and there might be
slowly.
more things to say by then, just given the way this
Exactly.
world is. But the only
Yeah.
thing that I'll just like highlight, everything you said, beautiful, perfect, on like great way to like cap off the lesson of all of this episode
Yeah.
and like the purpose of this holiday.
Yeah.
But I just also want to echo the thing of like, you don't know why people join the military.
Yeah.
Because
You
I
don't know that
mean,
person.
because not, and obviously we do not make this show political. We
Right.
actually actively try to avoid
Yes,
it, I
definitely try
think.
not to.
But like where I stand politically, like I understand why people would be upset with the military because I understand that because I hate seeing the things that our military does across the world in many cases. But that's the system, not the people fighting it necessarily. People don't join the military because they're like, yeah, I want to be a warmonger. I want to be a hawkish. I want to do like, are there some of them in there? Sure, probably. But the vast majority, the common thread of why people join the military almost always is because they're trying to escape poverty because they have no other way to go to college.
Yep.
Exactly. They have no other way to go to college. Maybe they want to travel. They want to do something different. They want to build discipline in their lives. They have no political leaning or ideology whatsoever other than like, I don't know, I want to get out of my small town, travel, and I can make $50,000 a base salary and have unlimited health benefit, or not unlimited, but great health benefits and all sorts of opportunities afterwards.
Yeah,
exactly. Like that's the main thing, and they dangle that carrot over over young Americans, unfortunately, who need something to do when they graduate from high school and don't necessarily have an answer for what to do. And they dangle the excitement of the military and guns and war over your head. So everybody joins for different reasons. So don't be fucking spitting on ROTC members or Navy or National Guard members, anyone. And I mean, can have your arguments about that and all, but that's just mean. Don't spit on anybody. Like that's
freaking nasty.
That's also just, I mean, that's like it's the most insulting thing you literally can do to someone. I stand on in just like a general confrontation. Like spitting on someone is so disrespectful, whether you know them or not. Sorry. So anyways,
and it's like you
that's
said,
my
like,
soapbox.
we can like hate the system and the people at the top making the decision.
Exactly.
For the system,
because they certainly are not the ones who are struggling to afford college or to afford houses or like to find a path in their life. Like the ones who are making the decisions for us to go to war and whatnot. Anyways. So.
And like, like everything, there's so much gray, et cetera, and like, someone in the Navy isn't currently patrolling your streets. That's a different organization in the U.S. government, in fact. So
Director that's anger. But and also, and not to like denigrate combat fighters either, though, because some combat fighters do take their oath very seriously and actually do like they save people from horrible circumstances when they are fighting in war. Some don't, but like there again, everything is black. Nothing is black and white. Everything is gray.
Exactly.
So. Happy Veterans Day, guys.
Happy Veterans Day.
Happy Veterans Day.
Sorry we didn't get political this episode, but also fuck Nazis. So that could be a political stance we take, I would say.
Exactly. And I think we can all, at least, anyone who we want listening to this can agree with that statement. So sorry, come after us if you disagree, but don't.
But so also, you're not allowed in the tent.
Exactly. You got to stand way over. Yes.
Go another category not allowed in.
Exactly. One of the few. So yes, that is our first November episode. Promise I'll get more upbeat after this. And we'll actually start talking about Thanksgiving and like more fall stuff, hopefully soon. Maybe in Grace's episode.
Don't worry, next week will be so unserious. So.
Okay, good. We got all the tears out the first week of November, and now we'll move on to happier, brighter fall future. So
beautiful.
Until then, Grace, next week when you hopefully lift our spirits up a little bit after this. Thank you. Who should they tell about this podcast?
Who do you think? Go tell a veteran, obviously. I took the easy route on that one. Sorry about it, but I got to pick first. So after you tell a veteran, who else should they tell about our show?
After you tell a veteran, you should tell... Oh man, that makes it hard because now I'm trying to think back. Like everything was in the past, so it's no one else.
I took all of them there. I didn't say a specific war veteran. I just said blanket.
Because I feel like the only thing I can say now is like the opposite of that, but then that gets a little dicey where it's like I don't know who tell someone at Halliburton, but I also don't want them. I don't know. So no, I would say tell if you're going to celebrate Veterans Day this year, so I know it's still over a week away from this episode, so hold off, but if you're going to a parade or anything, just tell whoever you're standing by at the parade.
Nice.
Or lean into it by saying, man, I remember when I was younger, there's a great episode of Hey Arnold about Veterans Day that really taught the lesson. And I just happened to listen to a podcast that covered that episode, so you should watch it.
You should just pop it on in celebration of the day.
They're very pro-veteran. You should go listen to them. They said some great things, shared some great information about what to do as a veteran and whatnot. So
beautiful.
On that note, Until then.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.